Welcome back to $2 Garage, and today we will be reviewing this 2010 Dodge Nitro. The Dodge Nitro was made from 2007 until 2011. It is a 4x4 SUV. Starting with the exterior styling, it has the Dodge Ram look, for lack of better terms. Factory wide body, some crappy aftermarket wheels that work. And it is an SUV, so it holds lots of stuff. Under the hood, we have a 4-liter V6. This produces 260 horsepower and 266 foot-pounds of torque. It's not bad for what it is. These do have their issues. Sometimes they overheat, and you do need to keep on that timing belt. But compared to other Chrysler V6s of this era, this is actually pretty good. Paired to this 4-liter V6 is a 5-speed automatic. It does have the select shift by Chrysler. It does work. It does help with this transmission as it is quite boggy normally. The exhaust note could be best described as not great. The idle noise sounds like an angry 4-cylinder even though it's a 4-liter V6. And it's just annoying when you get up to speed. It sounds like it has a bad exhaust leak, which it probably has a few. Let's talk about the back. It does have back seats, but the owner of this vehicle doesn't ever use them. This is entirely for storage, for hauling things, and as we can see, it does a pretty good job at that. Let's pop the hatch. Now this is a absolute shit box, and that means that doesn't want to open right now, so we're gonna have to base it off this. That seems pretty spacious for what it is. Being we are not doing a backseat review, let's check out the door cards and quality here. So, it feels light, but it doesn't feel like it's about to fall off. You know, someone's been here. There's no locks. That's fantastic. As we can see, you know, it's not completely falling apart, so that's pretty good for a $1,000 beater. Here we are in the front. We have a sunroof, interior lights, such illustrious things. And of course, our steering wheel. Start with our touch points. Now, a lot of this stuff doesn't feel great, but it feels about right for an early 2000s Dodge. Could be better, could be worse. Over here, we have a nice, spacious glove box, and if we let it go down, it does my favorite part. It shakes the entire dash. It's a feature. Yeah, it's a Chrysler. But that's fine, it works. Going on to the rest of the interior, we have a gauge cluster with 3 pods, I think this is a Dodge Caravan steering wheel, and a radio that I know for in fact does play sound. Down here we have our shifter with the select shift that does work, handbrake, 4-wheel drive, and our buttons. Of course, you have our 3 basic knobs as usual. On one final side note, for the interior, we do have volume controls here and search controls there, which actually work pretty well. This steering wheel does feel nice. And another positive note, the visibility is quite nice considering it is a truck. The nice ride height does help. The interior quality isn't great, but everything is here. We have a glove box. It does glove box things. On another note, these seats are surprisingly comfortable for what they are. As we can see, it goes into drive. Now we're running, and let's show what we have here. Contact dealer, fantastic. MPG 18.7, and it's not happy. We'll leave it at that. But 32 degrees. I will give it credit, the steering wheel does feel nice, and perhaps I'm too used to too many modern E-Pass cars, but this steering rack, which is hydraulic, actually feels nice and heavy. Feels truck-ish. Let's see if this works. And the 4-wheel drive works. Awesome. Here we see we have an audio system that does audio things. It doesn't sound bad, but it only plays copyrighted music, so you're gonna have to go with it. Our other touch points, such as our stalks, feel light. They don't feel as light as, say, early 2000s, 90s GM, but still light. But not so cheap they're gonna break when you touch them. you can see. First thing you immediately notice is the exhaust leak. The second thing you immediately notice is the horrible suspension travel, which this thing, it feels like it's on coilovers an inch off the ground, which it shouldn't as an SUV, but granted, this does have 177,000 miles. Besides that, what else is it like to drive? Well, the transmission doesn't really, it wants to sit in the highest gear at the lowest possible speed, but when it downshifts, the V6 does indeed have torque and power. There's something probably wrong with this. It could probably use a tune-up, but that's not my problem. That being said, it is acceptable up to speed. We're going just fine down the road. The ride is so horrible, but I already mentioned that. The big tires are helping a bit, but there's only so much that can cover. Other driving characteristics include this is an automatic car, so for example, it wants to sit in the laziest gear, and like most automatics, you really got to push it down to get it to upshift. This is typical 20-year-old, 15-year-old used automatic things. Ready? There we go. We've hit the speed limit. How does it handle on a back road? I'm not even gonna try it because this thing is bouncing around like a sofa on a road that looks like this, so we'll just assume it's crap. As for stopping power, the brakes are perfectly adequate. They will stop you. Not amazingly, but they will. Okay, let's do 0 to 60. Wow, listen to that caravan motor. Alright, this can move if need be. 60. So it has a feature being a $1,000 ship box. When you put it in 4x4, it starts making a horrible whining noise. So we're just going to ignore that and keep it out of 4x4 and everything will be fine. As we can observe, obviously, the ride height is quite high for what it is. The higher suspension is super broken and very bouncy and definitely worn out, but it is high. So what are my thoughts on this machine? Well, for context, this is a $900 beater. So that's what I'm looking at it in the lens of. The hatch doesn't open sometimes. It's being particularly moody today because I was trying to film it. And the alarm system doesn't work or just randomly goes off. That being said, there's absolutely nothing spectacular about this. The power delivery isn't great. The interior quality isn't great. The transmission isn't fantastic. But all of it works, which is what's important. The engine isn't amazing, but it's not horribly unreliable either, and this is perfectly adequate. As I mentioned, steering is actually pretty good, the steering wheel's nice, and the ride quality is not fantastic. So, in my final conclusion, it's pretty good for what it is. It's a transportation bod, and it works, so we'll leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe. This is $2 Garage. Have a nice day.